Well, good afternoon. My name is Doucette. I'm a glass artist located in a small city on the eastern coast of Canada, Halifax, Nova Scotia. I've been working in glass for about 30 years, mostly doing windows, churches and buildings like that, but I've also been doing a fair bit of fusing, and in the last 15 years I've been blowing a fair bit of glass, making stained glass ornaments. Today I thought I might like to make a video, as I'm just about to close up my studio for the rest of the year, and I am going to blow a very large glass ornament, show you how it's done. It's a new style that I've created called the silver snowflake, and this is how it goes. The first thing you have is of course a lit torch, but then you also flip down the styling clip-on ace screening sunglasses or filter glasses. They're amethyst contrast enhancing, and what they do is they screen out the frequencies that are the big flare that you will see when I introduce the glass to the torch. By the way, it is only about 4 or 5 days, 6 days to Christmas. That's why you're hearing the Christmas music in the background, and why I'll be closing up the studio for a while. So I started making these ornaments when a company sent me the wrong order. I had ordered a series of large stainless steel rods, and they sent me tubes instead. And after a while I realized that I could use them both as rods, and I could actually use them as small blowing tubes as well by dipping them in the bead wash and allowing the bead wash to dry, and then gently heating it and putting hot glass on. Also, you can dress up the ornaments quite nicely by rolling them in crushed glass of all kinds of different colors. See, here I have 12 different colors mixed together to make a very festive ornament. But the ornament that I'm making today is made with simply white glass. And I do all my own frits. I do them by heating glass and popping the glass into cold water. And that makes a nice cubic frit, which is a granulated glass. Here I'm heating up a rod of pale blue. This is to make the base of the snowflake ornament. And this pale blue is a blue from a particular company that I like quite a bit. It is called Preciosa. It's a Czechoslovakian company. A friend of mine imports it, and I purchase it from her, and it blows very nicely. Depending on the type of glass that is being made by the type of company, you can get glass that's really hard to blow or really easy to blow. And in particular, there are glasses like the Effetra, the Italian glasses. They're very soft. They are glasses like they're white, and particularly they're ivory, which make beautiful ornaments, but are, well, challenging to blow, shall we say. The other end of the spectrum are some of the Chinese deep blacks. They as well can be very challenging to blow. So I've added a small gather. This becomes the collar of the ornament by rolling this gently on this carbon block, which is attached to the top of my torch, which is called a marver. And that makes the collar of the ornament, and it also creates a place where I can attach more glass without ending up putting it into the hole of the tube, because that will block the tube and make it difficult to blow. I should mention that we had quite the snowstorm last night here in Nova Scotia, and as I look out the window, it's still snowing a little bit. It was daunting this morning shoveling the, well, what was it, 15 centimeters of snow? Or for those of you in our American colony down south, 6 inches. It's one of the difficulties of moving my studio from the industrial building that it was in to a lovely outbuilding in my own backyard, is that now I have to shovel to get to work. Something I didn't expect to have to do here in the latter part of my career. This year, of course, is the year of the coronavirus, and we have all been deep in our bubbles. Nonetheless, people have arranged, because all of the craft markets have been closed, to come to my studio to purchase ornaments from me. Well, they actually purchase them from me in the house. And even though we do social distancing, they've managed to purchase close to 250 ornaments this year. I was really surprised. I thought that it would be a terrible year because of all of the social restrictions. But it appears that people want what they want, and this is what they want. So I've added about 3 gathers at this point. You heat up about that much and then attach it. And you can figure out volumes based on the diameter of the rod of glass that you're working with. I have a set of scales marked on the steel tabletop for both Effrite and Preciosa. I'm not paying much attention to it this time because I'm not making a regular size ornament. I'm making an extra large. The regular size ornaments, they come in about the size of a large egg, and they're designed actually that way to keep them in egg cartons so that I can transport them easily back and forth to shows. But in this case, I'm making something much larger, and it has its own series of difficulties because of that. One of which is blowing an even bubble into the ornament to make a nice even pass and have a well-shaped ornament at the end. I can solve this in 2 ways. I can be very fussy about the shape of the hot gather of glass before I begin to blow. And by the way, I don't blow so much as I puff gently but firmly until the glass begins to move. The other way is that I can pre-blow. I can put a tiny bubble of air inside the molten ball and then return it to the flame to heat it up again and make sure that everything is evenly heated. It's not just where the bubble is, it's how warm the glass is around it. And if you don't get it all evenly heated all the way around, all 360 degrees, you end up with a very misshapen ornament. As well, gravity acts on the creation of the ornament. So you usually get it nice and hot, orange hot, and then take it out of the flame, but you keep spinning it and moving it for about a count of 6 before you turn it towards the floor and you blow. This keeps the ornament from pulling too much and creating a long oblong instead of that lovely egg shape that we're going for. So I'm almost at the point where I'm going to roll this in the frit, and I will turn up the torch at that point to show you how that happens. As I said, I've been making glass ornaments now for, at least a decade. My first career, actually, though, in university, I was quite the science geek when I was in high school, and I ended up going to the College of Pharmacy for 2 years before deciding to pursue other things. I ended up working with a series of artists here in Nova Scotia in glass, taking a couple of courses at our College of Art and Design, courses that I eventually was asked to teach, and then just hanging out my shingle. Much of this is self-taught, and it is not that difficult now to become self-taught because there's a lot of information on YouTube and other places on the internet that show you exactly how to work, how to set up this kind of equipment, a minor bench burner, and how to use it. However, I was once a pharmacist, or at least a pharmacy student. So one of the things that I know quite a bit about from taking classes are the principles of viscosity and the melting points of things, the idea of compatibility in glass, the coefficients of expansion and contraction. And that's one of the things that catches people up when working with glass, because it is actually fairly easy to break up bottles and just make beads out of them. When you want to start mixing glass together, though, you have to use glasses that are very similar in their coefficient of expansion, which is actually their coefficient of contraction as well. And because of that, because if you don't, the glass will crack and shatter when it reaches a certain temperature, a lot of people get put off the idea of working with glass. I didn't, and here I am today. So now we have a nice glowing ball, and we're going to roll it in this crushed white. This white glass is an Italian glass, but it still has the same coefficient of expansion as the Preciosa. So the two are very compatible, and I'm going to roll it again just to get a good pattern of what will be white snowflakes across the surface of the blue ball. Again, I'm going to heat it so that you can see it's sort of lumpy, and when you heat it, all those little granules, they melt into the glass, the base glass, and you get a nice smooth ball. And now you can begin working the shape. And if any of you have ever visited a glass studio that makes hot glass, like a place that makes crystal or something like that, you'll notice that they use a lot of tools, particularly graphite or hard wooden molds that are wetted, to shape the glass to make sure that it becomes nice and round and the shape that they're trying to blow before they blow the air into it. I'm doing the same thing, but I'm doing it just using the marver, creating a long shape like that. I like. Now the final little touch is one that I'm quite well known for, which is using metal. Here we have a piece of 30 gauge fine silver wire that I'm winding onto the surface. This wire is so fine that it will break up into little dots all over the surface, and those dots will create bright spots with a little yellowing around them because the silver affects the clear glass and stains it. That's where the name stained glass comes from, actually, is painting glass with silver oxides. And now we can begin to create the final heating. Slowly rotating and heating to keep things evenly spaced. I'm holding the blow tube at a slight angle so the glass will back up and create a large, wide shape that should be in at least relatively evenly distributed around the center axis of what I'm spinning. Now this ornament is twice the size of what I usually make, so it takes a little longer and it takes a bit more finesse. And hopefully that finesse is there inside me today. I don't know. After shoveling snow, I feel like I'm a bit more of a brute. But there we are. A nice shape. We'll just point it downwards for a moment just to make sure that it's a nice shape around the top of the gather, and then bring it back. A bit more heat. It's nicely heated all the way through. So now I'll take it out of the flame, keeping it spinning, and count 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now I'll stand and I will blow. that's a pretty good shape. It's a little more elongated than I would usually like, but nonetheless, so you can see the figuring of all of the silver. It stains, but then there are little silver dots all over, and you have the white, the snowflakes, and all the blue base. It's like a sunny, or sort of a clear afternoon with a flurry. That's the silvered snowflake ornament. And now would be the time, 15 seconds coming up. Keep it spinning. I'll pop it into my annealing kiln. And in 3 hours, it will be ready to take out the last ornament of the year here at Philip Doucette Studio in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Happy holidays!